Good evening, welcome back to Toulouse, the culmination of the women's qualifying round. About to get underway here on the lead wall. We've had speed, we've had boulder, and now it is time for the lead, the final component of the three. As it stands right now, Lučka Rakovic is leading the way. She had a fantastic time earlier on the boulder wall, but it could be just about anyone's. Let's have a look at the combined rankings in totality. I've already mentioned Lučka Rakovic leading the way. There she is, 15th in the speed, not a great start, but not too bad, and then followed it up with first on the boulders. It's going to be pretty hard to displace her from a slot in the final. Julia Kaplina currently in second, also with a 1 next to her name. In one of the disciplines, it was speed for her, and then she was second to last, 21st in the boulder. Then Yiling Song, Aimori, Kyra Kondi, Futaba Ito, Julia Shanodi, Mia Krampel, Laura Rigora, and Fanny Gibert, the top 10 as it stands. Remember, this is a combined competition. Climbers do all three disciplines, and their ranking in each discipline, 1 to 22, because we have 22 competitors, is multiplied by their ranking in the other disciplines. So it's, for example, 3 multiplied by 3 multiplied by 3 if you were third in all three disciplines, which would give you 27 points. So obviously the lower points, the better. This multiplication system, the fact that we don't add the scores together, we multiply them by each other, means that you can quickly fire down the order just by slipping a couple of ranking places in an individual discipline. So it really does mean that everything is on the table until the last climber has completed their attempt. This is the starting order on the lead wall. Julia Kaplina will be first out. The starting order remains fixed all the way through a qualification day. Kaplina was first on the speed wall, first on the boulders, and now she's first on the lead. Then it'll be Sandra Letner, Margot Hayes, Alexandra Kaluchka, Elnaz Rakabi, Alana Yip, Laura Rigora, Yevgenia Kazbekova, more on her in just a second. Then Eri Santi Raheo Nishima, Shira Eshi. Then Sol Sa, Yiling Song, Anouk Jobert, Kyra Kondi, Futaba Ito, Mia Krampel, Aimori, Julia Shanodi, Jane Kim, Fanny Gibert, Yutong Jiang, and finally Lučka Rakovic. I've said more about Evgenia Kazbekova a bit later on. If you watched our boulder coverage, you will know that she picked up a fairly nasty looking knee injury on the first boulder. She was trying to do a fairly heinous move, rolling onto her heel, which was right in front of her waist, and it was a really awkward looking move. She fell off unexpectedly, kind of popped off the move, picked up a knee injury. She could barely walk to the remaining boulders. Somehow, through sheer determination alone, managed to secure 2 tops. And she will compete on the lead wall. We were told as we went off air from the boulders that she wouldn't be competing, and I said that at the end of the boulder broadcast. Apparently she will compete, however, hopes are not high that she is fully fit, and I think she is competing out of optimism as much as anything from what I hear. The knee injury is severe enough that it's really going to affect her performance and going to severely affect her ability to heel hook, and the route, which we've just taken a look at, will have quite a lot of heel hooks. So we don't expect Evgenia Kazbekova to be able to give her all to the route. The injury is considered to be relatively serious, but she will compete despite what we were initially told, and let's just see how far she can get. She exceeded all our expectations on the boulders with 2 tops, and you just never know, but it's sadly for Evgenia is not looking good for her on the lead. So Julia Kaplina gets underway on this women's lead route. Currently sitting in second place. We know in this combined format that if you do win one of the disciplines, as she did in the speed, very hard for anybody to knock you out of a place in the final, but she was second to last on the boulders. I think if she could be somewhere in the top 20 on the lead, she'd probably take that. We've got 5 so-called speed specialists in this women's competition today, Kaplina being the first one of them. And you suspect, unless somebody has a slip very low down, that the 5 of them will be battling it out for the bottom 5 spots in the lead, just as they ended up doing in the boulder. First chance to have a good look at the route anyway. After this volume section, the climbers hit a series of big purple balls. See Yulia Kaplina definitely looking a bit tired already, but putting up a good fight on this lower section. First of many heel hooks if you can progress. Needs to be quite careful here, still relatively low to the ground, and probably could have done with getting that clip done. She ended up, I think she's okay, Yulia Kaplina. Ended up in a bit of a sketchy situation suddenly there. She was a long way above the last clip, clearly either too tired or not in a position to do the next clip, and still relatively close to the ground. It suddenly looked potentially rather scary, and so it proved. She clobbered the B-layer, who looks quite a young lad. He looks like he might actually be a couple of kilos lighter than Yulia Kaplina. She seems to be okay, fortunately. You clearly want to get that clip done relatively early on. At times, of course, the route setters can opt to mark a compulsory clip. Haven't done so on this occasion. Slightly awkward fall for Yulia Kaplina to get us underway. 14 plus anyway for Yulia Kaplina. So Sandra Letner, out next. Real all-rounder from Team Austria. She's the only Austrian competing today. She was a world champion in 6 minutes begins for her. 14 plus of Yulia Kaplina, the only score on the board so far. Comme Jakob Schubert, elles ont gagné les deux à la maison dans le temple autrichien. Vas-y, monte le son, Nico, un petit family portrait là pour Sandra Lettner, if you want to help her. In a hurry to get on with things here, Sandra Lettner. Only been climbing less than 20 seconds, 3 quick draws clipped already. Wants to get a move on. It's not a particularly steep wall, this, until quite high up when it suddenly goes horizontal. And this time, and a bit like unlike yesterday's men's route, the climbers really do go through the horizontal section. They kind of skirted around it yesterday on the men's route. This is the section where Yulia Kaplina's attempt began to come unstuck. From what we saw from Kaplina, it's a pretty good idea to get that quick draw clip from that position, as Sandra Lettner has done. Avant Kylian, c'était Angela Etter. Après, il y a eu des gamines de 16 ans qui ont remporté les championnats d'Europe. Je pense à Johanna Ernst. Il y a toujours eu des monstres. Et même maintenant, c'est les this could be our first chance to see the purple ball section. Kylian, Anna, c'est sûr. Et puis Jakob Schubert, qui est un des grands favoris pour la médaille d'or au JO. Ah bah Jakob Schubert, rappelez-vous, pour qu'il soit, pour lui enlever la médaille d'or olympique. Not considered to be many particularly risky moves on this route. Quite similar, I think, to the men's yesterday. A lot of resistance. But relatively secure positions if you can find them. I think one of the defining characteristics of this section is that you spend a lot of time squeezing these huge round volumes. It's very hard on the bicep, the back, the shoulders, not so much the forearms. It's all body climbing. It's not necessarily just pumpy moves from small hole to small hole. It's really hugging these volumes. And that's exhausting in a different way to many lead routes. You can see Sandra Lettner already having to work pretty hard. Bien Nico, allez on passe son temps dans les mains s'il vous plaît pour Sandra Lettner, on va l'encourager. Parce que Sandra Lettner, des mouvements, elle va pas en faire encore 50. Yes, Sandra. Sandra Lettner slaps out right to that black hold, approaching halfway on the route. Gets even more physical in a couple more moves. There's a potential knee bar where some of the climbers might be able to get something resembling a rest. You can see that big black volume there sticking down from the horizontal section of the wall. You can potentially get your lower leg in between that and the purple volume behind it and create a rest, possibly. Depends on your pain tolerance and how long your leg is, because it's not the most comfortable position even if you do find it. Sandra Lettner looked like she's getting a little bit pumped lower down, trying to get something back now.
Alors ça va être intelligent de trouver les temps de repos qui seront dans les moments et les endroits les plus confortables. L'autre intelligence, c'est de clipper la dégaine à des endroits où on n'est pas en péril. Et l'absolue intelligence, c'est de bien déchiffrer la voie. Chose qui peut être plus compliquée pour les bloqueurs.
Sandra taking a long rest. You can see 2:30 left on the clock. Quite a lot of ground still to cover. There's the shot we want to really see how far she's got to go. It's not that many moves, but all of them are pretty tough. And I think you would probably need the best part of 2 minutes to get through that section. So Sandra's taken a long rest. Will she even look for the knee bar? Yeah, she kind of fits in it. It would definitely help if her lower leg was a little bit longer. You can see what I mean. It's not the most convenient of resting spots. Now she really launched into the horizontal section on some pretty small holes. Pretty big move coming up here.
Il y avait un peu de sursis dans... Et là c'est la partie la plus inclinée. Donc évidemment se reposer dans un temps comme ça.
Opting to get the clip done earlier on, which is I think a pretty good move. There's only 2 more clips after that before you're at the top. Now Sandra Lettner can get moving again. 1:25 left on the clock. We saw yesterday on the men's side that time could be absolutely crucial. Sandra Lettner chooses to lead with the right hand and then slap up with the left and comfortably at high point. But she's only the second climber out. Time will tell how good a performance that was. It looked pretty solid. It required quite a lot of time from Sandra Lettner. And as I said yesterday on the men's side, time was absolutely crucial.
Allez, retenez bien la verticale limite, hein, déjà au niveau de la dégaine et puis au niveau de ses mains. On va mettre les cotations, nous, comme ça, enfin le pointage, on peut l'applaudir. Round of applause for Sandra. The day is finished. Now, she can take a break. Bon, Sandra, alors attention, parce que là, on va...
So 38 plus the score for Sandra Lettner. Margot Hayes, the next climber out. Always good to see her on a lead wall. Primarily a lead climber, Margot Hayes. Didn't have a bad time at all on the boulders though. She was the highest ranked of the climbers with 2 tops in the boulders. They ended up 10th. 2 tops, 4 zones for her. Speed didn't go great, 19th, but here she is on arguably her favourite discipline. What can she produce? She'll need the performance of a lifetime if she's going to make the final. She could do it. She's so good on the lead wall. Of course, the climbers have had observation. They were out here at 4:15 local times. That was about 40 minutes ago, observing the route. 6 minutes to observe it, and then 40 seconds when you're standing at the bottom, as Margot has just done. And off she goes.
Ouais, et puis Margot, on la voit pas tout le temps sur les compètes parce qu'elle s'occupe aussi de ses projets falaises. Donc quand on a le cœur qui balance entre la falaise et la résine, c'est un peu ce qui va se passer pour Oriane Berton. Elle aime les 2 univers. Et ben ça donne de temps en temps on vient. Madame Andra, c'est ça. Et puis de temps en temps on part. Comme Magnus Pitbo, le grimpeur norvégien qui lui a tout arrêté pour retourner en falaise. Et vous allez vous régaler. Allez, monte la musique, on va la laisser évoluer tranquillement. C'est ce qu'elle parle un peu français, même bien français. Et c'est important pour elle, il y a déjà une américaine de qualifiée.
Large American contingent watching on here. Had a couple of climbers taking part yesterday. 3 taking part today. Quite a large support team of coaches and officials with them. Team USA, they're very well represented. Relatively quiet at this stage. I haven't heard too many shouts. Margot doing what she does best up on the lead wall. Resident of Boulder, Colorado, just seems to churn out top climbers. And the sole American woman who has booked her place to the Tokyo Olympics so far, Brooke Rabatou, comes from that same town. Could it be 2 Olympians from Boulder? Work to be done for Margot, if there's going to be. 190 ranking points as it stands. It's 10th from the Boulder multiplied by 19th from the speed, so she needs a very, very low number, certainly low single figures, to really stand a chance of finding a way into that top 8 for the final on Sunday.
Parce qu'il y a des pièges quand même dans cette là tu sais la clipper en 2 temps.
Oui, c'est des voies exigeantes de toute façon. Il n'y a pas de moment où on est vraiment très facile.
Et puis ce qu'on a compris aussi Nico, c'est que les
filles on to the first of the big circular volumes. Managed to find a little knee bar there. Clever work from Margot. Like just a perfect length.
J'ai hâte de voir ce que le DJ lui a proposé en deuxième partie. Attention à cette brise marron aussi, là qui peut être très lisse.
So she's got 3 more of these large volumes to negotiate, including the one she just left. So that's the second to last one now that she's on. MC asks the crowd for a little bit of noise and gets it. They've been much more restrained today, the crowd. They felt very rowdy yesterday. Just quietly watching.
D'observation supplémentaire, ils en profitent pour affiler, voir s'il n'y a pas de piège. Des petites prises cachées au-dessus des volumes. Et si vous la poussez, ça peut être la première, elle doit sortir cette fois. Elle n'a pas l'air complètement fluide.
Margot really having to work here. This is where we saw Sandra Lettner take quite a long rest. Keep an eye on the clock as well. This route clearly climbing a little bit slower than the route yesterday for the men, where well, time was a massive issue in terms of rankings, but nobody came close to timing out. I wonder if that might not be the case today. 2.5 minutes left for Margot. Choosing barely to rest, actually. Sandra Lettner was there for a good 30 seconds or so. And Margot getting creative, finds the knee bar, doing it really the reverse way to how you'd imagine. You'd imagine you'd have the knee on the black volume and the foot on the purple one. Doesn't look particularly comfy. I'm interested that that's where she's chosen to rest instead of the blue hold. I think one of the advantages of this rest is that your forearms aren't working very hard, so if you are feeling a little bit pumped, you can let other parts of the body take the weight as you rest. Has a quick glance at the clock, so she's got 1 minute 40 left now. Now she will launch into the upper section, 38 plus. That was just over the lip after the horizontal section where Sandra Lettner fell. As I say, if Margot Hayes is to have a chance at the final, she needs an incredible performance on the lead wall. You'd have thought needs to make a really good dent in the head wall. 1 minute 10 left now. Keep an eye on the clock. I think it could play a role here. No beep to indicate there's a minute left like there is in Boulder. Margot just about to pull over the lip. You really get a sense of where she is on the route there. 45 seconds now left. Things could get very tight time-wise. Feet cut loose. She holds the swing nicely though, used her body tension well. That's hole 37 that she's got her right hand on. She just had a hand on 38, which is where we lost Sandra, so crosses through to find a new high point. That's 39 for Margot, 40, 47 holds is the top. She's going really well, but she's going to run out of time. 12 seconds now for Margot. Just needs to do every move she possibly can. There she goes up with the left hand and takes a big fall, but she got everything out of that one, Margot Hayes. It was a good performance. Perhaps with hindsight, might wish she'd just set off a little earlier towards the headwalk, because I think she had a bit of energy left. What she didn't have much of was time. One little thing to bear in mind, I don't think it will be relevant, but just something to bear in mind, is that climbers have to clip all the quick draws in sequence. They can't just leave a quick draw behind and do as many moves as they can before they run out of time. And Margot had a quick draw down by her knees, which the judges and the route setters may conclude that she'd left the last spot from where she could have clipped that quick draw, at which point she stopped scoring. But we'll see. But if you climb past what is deemed to be the last clippable position for a quick draw, you only get scored up until that last clippable point. If you try and get a couple more moves beyond that clippable point, you don't get awarded the scores. So I don't think that's relevant. Just something to mention if she gets a slightly lower score than we might initially have thought. Alexandra Kaluchka now doesn't take any of her 40-second observation time. Same young belay who successfully caught but got clobbered by Julia Kaplina. Shout out to the belays, by the way, they've been excellent here in Toulouse. Nice soft catches, some good reactions when things have happened, like Yerne Kruder pulling a volume off yesterday. So I think for Kaluchka here, the goal is to get to Kaplina's high point, which is 14 plus. Not that she knows that, of course, but when she sees the score, I think she'd be pleased if she can get past Kaplina. And that's 12, so a couple more moves. Gets the clip done. That was the clip that Kaplina didn't do before moving on, and that's why she took a slightly larger fall than you might have expected. This is good stuff from Kaluchka. She is past Julia Kaplina, so she's not going to finish bottom on the lead, and we'll just try now to get as many moves done as possible. Established on the first of the blue balls. I just got a foot slip unexpectedly. Lost in concentration, I think lost in being pumped. But that's going to put her third for now, obviously behind Margot Hayes and Sandra Lettner.
Encore, pour les gens qui ne connaissent pas l'escalade, qui arrivent, vous dites pas, oh, c'est quoi ce sport? C'est vraiment des filles d'une autre discipline. La vitesse, c'est spécifique à la vitesse. Ils ont besoin de beaucoup de masse musculaire, beaucoup de puissance. C'est pas du tout les mêmes filles.
It will be Elnaz Rakabi out next of Iran.
Là, on est dans l'univers de la résine.
Oui, c'est de l'endurance qui est beaucoup plus longue. Et alors que le travail de vitesse se fait sur des sections de travail plutôt.
That's how it stands right now. Margot Hayes leading the way, 43 plus. As I say, she's taking a slightly shorter rest. I wonder if she might have gone a little bit further. But she has to settle for 43 plus, 38 plus for Sandra Lettner. Alexandra Kaluchka in third, Julia Kaplina in fourth. Let's see, Elnaz Rakabi out next. Sadly for her, she's a climber for whom the day has just slightly disappeared. 18th in the speed, a couple of seconds off her personal best with two messy runs. And two tops, 4 zones on the boulders, needed a bit of a bigger result, so going to need to pull a rabbit out of the hat on the lead route if she wants to claim a place in the final.
Non, ils ont encore encaissé, ils sont très entraînés, ils s'entraînent plusieurs heures tous les jours, donc là ils sont arrivés à cette compétition bien reposés. Ils peuvent enchaîner une journée sans aucun problème.
She's underway, Elnaz. 6 minutes begins.
Pas vraiment, ils auront un jour de repos demain, les garçons aujourd'hui, donc non, tout va bien aller, ils seront en bonne forme.
Head coach, c'est Boro, Boro. Il a le sourire, j'adore. Aurel aussi, hein, à mon avis, ça va se rapprocher sûrement du résultat de Julia et d'Alexandra. On va arriver là. Elle s'est bien débrouillée aussi en bloc hein, tout à l'heure. Elle a donné tout ce qu'elle pouvait. Et pourtant, on sait que l'Iran, c'est des monstres d'entraînement, hein, parce que si on prend...
So there's what appears to be the first tricky move, or first slightly risky move. You've got to go up to that big round blue dish, get established, ideally get the clip done at that stage. The only Iranian competing here in Toulouse this weekend, Elnaz Rakabi. I think for just the story of having an Iranian in the Olympics, it would have been great if today had gone better, but it's, it just feels like it's slightly slipped away from it. Unless she can pull something truly extraordinary out of the bag here on the lead wall. No problems so far.
Léna Gros-Piron à l'assurage. Voilà, elle aussi fait partie des stars du club. La frangine, Maëlys et puis tout le reste. C'est pas mal hein, pour Elnaz.
Looking pretty secure so far, Elnaz, but just perhaps needs to be conscious of time. Over 2 minutes elapsed already. She's only really just entering the mid-section of the route, so I fear that time could be an issue. Steep climbers taking a little bit of a pause here, and she is doing the same.
Ça par exemple, ce style de prise, là, la marron, elle l'a presque jamais vu. Hein. Alors il a fallu d'ailleurs pour Stekio qu'il cache les marques. Hein. Allez, Boro.
Into the second half of her 3 minutes, Elnaz, and she falls really as she was just entering the grapes. She may be fairly disappointed with that one, but really it was going to require a miracle performance after how the rest of the day's gone for her to claim a spot in the final. It's a reasonably disappointing day for Elnaz Rakabi and for the Iranian climbing team. She unties looking fairly unimpressed with matters. And drifts off the stage.
Peut-être pour les Jeux de 2028 à Los Angeles. La prochaine, c'est la seule représentante du Canada. Il n'y a pas de fille qualifiée pour le Canada.
So the only Canadian climber taking part here in Toulouse, Alana Yip, will be next out on the wall. Here she is. She was commentating yesterday. She's climbing today. Needs a big performance here, Alana. 12th in the speed and then 9th in the boulder. I mean, rules are rules, but she could count herself a little bit unlucky in the boulder. She got 3 tops and 4 zones, which was the same as the climber in 4th place, but it came down to attempts. But as I say, we all know the rules. Everyone has to. Everyone's playing by the same scoring system, but when you get the same number of tops and zones as someone in 4th and you end up 9th, you can perhaps consider yourself slightly hard done by. But a big performance on the lead wall could put her right in the reckoning. It's going to be very, very tight, and she's definitely going to be one of those climbers with a nervous few hours watching everyone else climb. But if she could find her way into the top 10 on the lead wall, it would put her in a pretty strong position. Remember, of course, no Canadian women qualified yet for the Olympics, so there are potentially 2 slots available. She's not competing against anyone else, as, for example, the Slovenians Armia Krampel and Lučka Rakovic are both doing pretty well so far today, but only one of them can take a place in the Olympics because Janja Garberit's already claimed one of the Slovenian spots. No such worries for Alana Yip. And remember, of course, that if things don't go according to plan, we still have the Continental Championships coming up early next year, and if Alana doesn't qualify for the Olympics here in Toulouse, she may do there, but she wants to get the job done here in the south of France. So just to give you some idea, 47 holes of the route, she's currently at hole 20. Now 22, so approaching halfway for Alana. It's pretty burly, this section. You can see there, she's had to commit. Didn't have much choice but to have a brief second where I'm sure her heart was in her mouth as she just slapped with the right hand to secure herself on that huge grape volume. Fighting hard here, Alana Yip. That's her up onto hole 24. There is a bit of a rest beckoning. She's taking a rest here actually on not a great hole. There's an even better one coming up. That's 26, hole 26 is 28 where Sandra Lettner took the pretty long rest, and it was hole 29-30 where Margot took a longer rest. So there are rest opportunities coming up in just a couple of moves. Good stuff so far from Alana. Only 3 minutes elapsed. You can see her just, I think, relieved to finally be off that tough section of climbing. There's a couple of moves there where she looked she was pretty close to her limit. She's choosing to rest on the lower option. Beginning to feel it, but capable of doing a few more moves, I suspect. I think she'll take quite a long time at this rest.
Du plaisir et surtout une mentalité mais fabuleuse, un état d'esprit pour vos enfants, c'est le sport parfait.
See it just looking down at the clock, 2.25 minutes. Elbows are out, definitely feeling the pump, I think, but going really well here, Alana. As I say, ideally top 10 finish on the lead to be in the mix for a place in the final and potentially one of those 6 Olympic tickets. El Nasrakabi was hole 23, so Alana's put herself into 3rd out of 6 so far. She's chasing down Sandra Lettner next. Sandra got through the roof and established herself on the, or was about to get established on the head wall when she fell. And this for Alana now is simply a case of fighting and fighting and fighting. She's been training in Innsbruck at the amazing lead climbing facility there, the Kletterzentrum. She's looked in good shape on the boulders. Says training's been going well. Now is time to find out exactly how well it's been going. Just over a minute left to fight. She's just got to give this route everything she's got. Again, looks over her shoulder at the time. I think she'll be relatively happy. Minute still to go. Can she get ahead of Sandra Lettner? She cannot. I think that puts her in 3rd place. I think that'll be a 37 plus. We'll let the judges do their thing, but that will put her 1 move, in my opinion, behind Sandra Lettner. Let's have another look.
Voilà une presta qui va faire gagner des points et une bloqueuse.
Elle a bien battu.
Alors pendant ce temps-là, Nico, il lâche pas l'application. Il y a une application, c'est quoi, les World Series? C'est ça, IFSC World Series, vous avez toutes les disciplines. Et là, vous allez pouvoir avoir les classements en temps réel. Donc terminé pour notre Canadienne. La prochaine, c'est une falaisiste
So unties and walks away. There's not much more Alana can do. It must just be horrible to sit and watch everyone come out. You just can't do anything about it. It is a 37 plus for Alana Yip. She's in third place as it stands right now. Got a very strong lead climber next on the wall in the shape of Laura Rigora. Lead and boulder youth world champion from Arco in 2019, earlier on this year in August. Chalking up, getting ready to go.
Et puis il y a celles, les filles qui se transforment physiquement assez vite. Elle, voilà, c'est une junior minime, comme on dit. Hein.
Ouais,
mais quel
gabarit très fin, mais bon, ça l'a pas empêché ce matin de faire quatrième du bloc quand même.
Elle a fait une telle.
So Laura, 16th in speed, certainly not her favourite discipline, and then 4th on the boulders, so she's in a strong position here, Laura, if she can put in a good performance on the lead wall, and you wouldn't bet against her. She's been going really well in the lead over the past few years, and as I say, youth world champion in this discipline, World Cup finalist before at senior level. Really strong lead climber, and she's set herself up primarily thanks to that good result in bouldering for a massive result here in Toulouse, but it's time to earn it.
Et alors elle, à l'âge de 16 ans, quand elle a fait sa première finale en Suisse, la tête qu'elle faisait.
Climbing quickly here, Laura. Work to be done. She'll have seen yesterday the effect time can have. Stefano Gisolfi, as it ended up, he was tied with Alberto Jimenez Lopez because they both topped the route and they both took exactly the same time. However, it wouldn't actually matter whether Stefano finished ahead of Alberto or not in terms of whether Stefano made it to the final and the Olympics. But she'll have seen that time could be absolutely crucial.
Oui, ça, Laura, franchement, elle peut l'arriver un peu arriver en haut. Allez. Après, avec le stress de la compète, hein, comme tout le monde, elle sait qu'elle est bien calée, elle ne lâchera rien, Laura.
Ouais, je pense que cette première section sera forcément la section qu'elle va préférer.
See, a bit like Alana, there's that quick moment where you've just got to let go and slap that volume with the right hand. It's reasonably secure. There's definitely a moment where it must feel a little bit hard in the mouth. Laura looking like she's fighting already, squirming her way up. So really needs a massive result here, Laura. It's no exaggeration to say there could be an Olympic place on the line here. She did the job in boulder, and she followed it up in lead. Such a powerful move. Anytime you've got your hand facing away from you and above your head like that, your shoulder just feels like it's got no strength, but it had enough to keep her on there. Got bags of endurance, but those long reachy moves like that will cause her problems. She is one of the shorter climbers in the competition. Past halfway, it's hole 25. That's that one there. Thank you, Laura. So she's already, past halfway.
On sent quand même que là, elle a un peu souffert au niveau de un des passages, les premiers passages vraiment.
So a couple more moves, one more move in fact, and she'll get to that big blue hole where quite a few of the climbers have rested. Looks like she's really got a fight on her hands here, Laura. Looks more tired than you might expect from a lead climber as accomplished as her at this stage. A few grimaces.
Pour reprendre, ça permet de bien étudier aussi le toit, jeter un coup d'œil sur le chrono. C'est important parce que voilà, l'image des bloqueuses, elle est 30-40 secondes en dessus.
Elle a passé beaucoup de temps dans cette première section, donc elle va pas pouvoir profiter non plus.
Yeah, she does take a long rest. 150 left. I think there's going to be a few climbers pretty pushed for time. We saw Margot Hayes more or less run out of time just as she ran out of energy. I think she's not going to be the only one. Didn't choose to pause for long there, Laura. Just gets stuck straight into things. I just don't think her leg is long enough to even attempt the knee bar. Now you can see there, it just isn't going to work for her. Goes confidently out towards the edge of the roof. A head wall and a change of angle beckons in a couple more moves. So Laura Rigora battling with everything she's got now. If she can latch the next move, she will move ahead of Alana Yip. There it is. If she can do the next one, she'll move ahead of Sandra Lettner. And then who knows from there. Margot Hayes still leading the way on 43 plus. Got a few more moves before she gets there. She's looking really tired, Laura Rigora, but she's fighting and fighting, and she's at least onto slightly lower angle terrain. You can see from the look on her face is how much effort is going into this, but this could be the lead for Laura Rigora. That's hole 43. Going up towards 44. That is the lead for Laura. She'll move into first place. She will not have time to top the route, almost certainly not. Or will she? Here she goes, Laura just misses it. Fantastic performance. She had both hands on the top holds and she will move into first place. I didn't think she had time to attempt that move, but suddenly she just scurried up from there up to the tiny crimp, got herself set, and without a second's hesitation launched for the top and wasn't far off latching it into first place. Laura Rigora went well in the boulder and now can only wait.
Stefano, how old she is? 17? Laura, 18, 18 ans, elle a le temps de voir, on peut la venir encore une fois.
Strong performance from Laura Rigora. She looked tired from a dozen moves out, but she just would not give up. Battled her way up to 45 plus, and 46 and 47, which you have to get almost simultaneously, are the top holds. Yeah, I think maybe just didn't quite get the timing right there. She just had 10 more seconds. She maybe could have set for the top move a little bit better, but as it is, she takes provisional first place. So Evgenia Kazbekova is climbing next. We'll see what sort of shape she's in when she gets to the foot of the wall. It was the left knee that went. Let's see how she's walking. Yeah, it doesn't look too happy with that left knee, but we'll see.
Mais là, elle a été, à mon avis, remis un peu en état par le coach, par le kiné, et puis merci à Marcus Chauer.
She'll need to do something truly miraculous if she's going to take a place in the final here. 17th in the speed, 11th in the boulder. Extraordinary effort to get 11th in the boulder, given the fact that she injured her knee on the very first boulder, but we shall see. Evgenia Kazbekova, if she could claim a place in the final after what happened on Boulder 1, it would be comfortably the most heroic story to emerge from Toulouse.
Après, elle est solide. Hein. Les deux parents sont solides. Son père s'entraîne à moins 37 degrés dans la neige. Sa maman a été capable de remporter les Coupes du Monde de bloc, son père aussi. Et bientôt, on connaîtra la petite sœur qui est la même qu'elle, mais en mini-modèle.
Just trying to watch that left knee really closely, seeing if there's any signs of her not favouring it. I think it'll get a little bit more of a workout on the heel hooks higher up.
même pas si Pierre-Henri Paillasson n'a pas grimpé avec le papa. Hein? Pas loin, hein? Allez, pour Evgenia, vous avez envie d'encourager Evgenia, c'est Davaï. Davaï, Evgenia. Bien la musique, hein?
Safely established on the big round purple volumes.
Ouais, genou gauche sur le mouvement du premier bloc. Donc là, par exemple, sur ce genre de mouvement, ça doit tirer très fort.
Alors, on la voit, on dit que c'est une bloqueuse. Donc, c'est quand même à 60% plus bloqueuse. Elle a quand même fait finale à Arco l'année dernière.
I mean, Evgenia Kaspikova is a really strong lead climber, and yes, knee troubles aside, he's going really well here.
Ça les coûte comme ça en escalade. Oh, heureusement qu'elle
a choisi une autre option que les précédentes.
Et c'est ces mouvements-là, dès qu'elle va utiliser le pied gauche, encouragez-la s'il vous plaît, allez. Davaï, Evgenia, c'est plutôt pas mal pour le moment.
Alors il va bien se relâcher, c'est bien.
Parce qu'Evgenia Kaspikova, après l'épreuve de bloc, elle était 18e.
3.5 minutes for her to find the big result. What a story it would be. Let's not get carried away. Well, maybe a little bit.
Et ouais, le problème, c'est que quand tu es 18e, la seule chose à faire, c'est d'aller gagner la diff. Hein.
Ouais, pour l'instant, c'est encore possible.
Complètement.
Taking a long rest, as I say, or relatively long rest for where she is on the route of Evgenia. Remember, there is a pretty good rest coming up on the very next hole, that blue one. Pretty steep terrain here, perhaps doesn't come across on camera. It's much steeper than it looks. As a whole, the wall here in Toulouse is not particularly steep, but it does have this one horizontal section. I think she's suddenly, clocked that actually this is quite a good resting place. You've got to kind of move around to get your arms straight. So you get your arms straight, really helps get rid of some of the fatigue. Chooses not to pause for long at all. 2.5 minutes left on the clock. She's leaving that rest position with a lot more time in hand than many climbers have done. Will it come in handy later on? We shall see.
Oui, parce qu'elle compose avec la technique, elle est intelligente dans sa manière de grimper. Elle a mis les contre-appuis là où il fallait, Nico, hein, pour le moment.
Pour l'instant, c'est vraiment bien.
She doesn't take a rest on the horizontal section. We haven't seen many people really pausing here. Presumably, we can't quite see. I was about to say, presumably she's got the knee bar in, and she does. Chose to use it. Plenty of time left. Time not an issue here for Evgenia Kaspikova. What's that knee got though? She's going to need it to heel hook here. If she was to cut loose unexpectedly, it'd be pretty tough to stay on. Minute and a half remaining. Oh, and she went out towards the lip. And was it the knee? Was it the foot that gave way? You can see her instantly holding the left knee again. Yes, she was really relying on that heel hook. I'm not saying that was what failed, but let's see if we can have another look. Let's watch it in slow motion. Keep an eye on that left knee. Yeah, well, the heel did pop. Was it because there wasn't the strength in the knee, or would it have popped anyway? We'll never know. But so concludes a disappointing day for Evgenia Kaspikova. I think she really had a shot here, but couldn't give her all on the boulders. Still got 2 tops, but couldn't give her all either on the lead, really. Still gave a pretty good showing, all things considered.
Ça sera les championnats d'Europe. Il faudra être championne d'Europe.
Oui, tout à fait, ou en tout cas être la meilleure des non qualifiés.
Une fois qu'on aura terminé ce TQO dimanche, les seuls moyens de se qualifier seront les champions.
So, Erisizanti Raheu out next. Interested to see her on a lead wall, the world record holder in the speed. 5 weeks old, that world record now, 6.995. First and only woman to dip under the 7-second mark.
La grimpeuse la plus rapide au monde, Toulouse,
She was the only climber in the boulder not to register a zone or a top.
Juste tellement heureux d'avoir Ariès avec nous parce que 6,99. Ariès, malheureusement, n'a pas été chanceuse de ce matin sur la vitesse. Elle, la seule configuration pour elle.
What could she do on the lead wall? I think realistically her target is probably Julia Kaplina at 14 plus, and then possibly Alexandra Kaluchka at 19. They are the two specialist speed climbers we've seen so far.
Ouais, mais comme on disait aussi, on a compris qu'un grimpeur de vitesse pouvait faire podium. Mais un grimpeur de vitesse pour gagner.
Ouais, mais il n'y aura pas besoin de gagner vu que les Japonais seront déjà.
The only Indonesian competing here amongst the women in Toulouse. We had Alfian Mohammed yesterday. Chooses not to clip, but instead chooses to push on. Bumps up, which he's just missed with the right hand. Did well to salvage that. And then falls just shy of where Julia Kaplina got to. So Eris Santarajeo, 22nd in the boulder, may well end up being 22nd in the lead as well. And really, I think for all the 5 climbers for whom speed is their strongest discipline, they were all gunning for that number 1 on the speed wall, and it was Julia Kaplina who got it. From then on out, it's looked a pretty tough challenge for all of them. That's Eris Santarajeo, Yiling Song, Annick Jobert and Alexandra Kaluchka. Life is always going to be difficult for them when they didn't finish first on the speed wall. Yes, 9 for Eris Santarajeo. Shima Shirashi next, out on the wall. Realistically, going to be pretty tough for Ashima to do much unless she can find first, maybe second on the lead wall. It's a tough ask, but mathematically it's certainly not over. She's currently on 252 ranking points, 21st in the speed, 12th on the boulders.
Mesdames et messieurs, applaudissements pour Shiraishi Ashima, United States of America. Et là, elle est dans sa discipline. Hein.
Ouais, là, elle est dans sa discipline. Et on a vu que cette voie elle est sûrement accessible aux meilleurs spécialistes de difficulté.
Here goes Ashima.
Affûté à prendre des risques. Ça, c'était avant l'arrivée de Yania Gambret. Les meilleurs grimpeuses au monde étaient
one World Cup podium came in lead.
Yain Kim n'est pas grande, alors Mina, Maya c'était autre chose. Mais maintenant ça a poussé avec Yania Gambret qui a un gabarit plus longiligne. Elle a tellement de talent, elle est solide.
Ouais, c'était partie des rares grimpeuses qui ont grimpé dans le 9e degré en outdoor.
Really playing catch up here, Ashima. Everyone is when the speed doesn't go well, and it definitely didn't go well for her. Ended up 21st. Remember, of course, Brooke Rabatou already confirmed for the USA Olympic team. So there's only 1 slot available for the American women.
Par contre, on va être honnête, Ashima n'a pas le choix. Elle, c'est le pareil. Elle est 22e pour le moment après le bloc et la vitesse. 21e en vitesse. 12e en bloc.
Et là, il faut gagner, il n'y a pas le choix.
Et puis quand on l'attendait à 16 ans...
12th earlier on in the boulder for Ashima. She never made a World Cup final in boulder. But, as in lead, 2 4th place finishes and podium as well. But she needs something absolutely spectacular here. Doubly so because Margot Hayes performed so well. Still got Kyra Conley to come. It's going to be so tight. Look at the rankings. It's going to be so tight between the 3 Americans if Ashima puts in a good performance here, let alone between everyone else. Can one of them join Brooke? Can any of them join Brooke?
Quand on entendait les Français dire « Ah là là, il y a Ashima qui va arriver, il y a Ashima ci, il y a Ashima ça », c'était exactement comme pour Yania, elle était attendue, cette demoiselle. Et là, elle est là devant vous.
So, Ashima,
Come on, Ashima.
born of Japanese parents but grown up in the United States and climbing for the United States. Might have slightly miscalculated this one. I think he's able to correct the mistake. Yes, she is. Such tough positions to hang on to, just squeezing that big volume. Takes the energy out of you in quite a strange way. You don't really get pumped. You just suddenly feel like you need a lot more air than you can get into your lungs. Shima regains her composure after, it felt like a slightly awkward couple of moves there around that first big grape. Oh, and again, heart in the mouth moment, moving on to hole 25.
Ouais, c'est toujours mieux, surtout à cette hauteur.
Mais en tout cas, on sent qu'elle n'est pas non plus à l'aise. Elle a de la résine à revendre. Et cette première partie l'aura traumatisée. Elle n'est pas très rapide, Nico.
Elle est un peu dans les temps de Laura Ogora, mais on sent qu'elle est
Taking quite a long rest, Ashima. There's a good rest coming up in one move's time. I think she'll be too short to use the knee bar, so if she is going to take a rest anytime in the near future, she'll be advised to take one on the blue hole that's coming up. All right where she is, she looks reasonably comfortable.
Est-ce que le fait de te dire je suis obligé de réussir, ça te met encore...
Ouais, forcément, c'est plus difficile à gérer que si on n'est pas obligé, mais après, elle a beaucoup d'expérience aussi maintenant.
Et le public, regardez.
She's choosing not to rest on that blue hole. I wonder if she might go back to it. No, chooses to push on through. It's looked a tiny bit awkward on on a few of the moves around these purple volumes. Shima took a rest around that hole 25. That white hole, it's actually quite difficult to spot through our cameras. It hasn't really rested since. 1 minute 20 left on the clock, and just as she launched into the roof, she fell. That's not going to be enough for Ashima. She's come to Toulouse looking for an Olympic slot, and after 21st in the speed and then 12th in the boulder, she needed something very special on the lead. Sadly for her, she didn't quite get it. Let's have another look. Launching out towards hole 34.
Après, c'est impossible de calculer tant que tout le monde, ou au moins la majorité des filles, ne sont pas passées.
Là, on va partir dans une petite série avec des grimpeuses de bloc, des grimpeuses de vitesse. Il va y avoir Solsa, Yilin Song, Anouk Jobert, Kaira, Candy, Futaba, Ito. Et on va revenir dans l'univers avec Trample. On peut l'applaudir Shiraishi, Ashima Shiraishi, la légende qu'on est ravi d'avoir vu ici.
So Ashima, she is done here in Toulouse. That's not going to be enough for her. Her shot at Olympic qualification is now dependent on no other American woman qualifying from here in Toulouse and then her winning the Pan American Continental Championships early in next year, the last week of February. Solsa, next climber on the wall, 9th in the speed but then 16th in the boulder, and boulder really considered her strongest discipline. After 9th in the speed, she put herself in a good position but just didn't quite follow it up on the boulder wall. Currently on 144 ranking points. Again, like Ashima, needs an incredible performance here on the lead wall to salvage her trip to Toulouse.
Et puis j'espère que ça va bien se passer pour eux parce que Changwon hier, il a été très difficile à consoler.
Oui, après, il faisait partie des favoris potentiels pour se qualifier, mais on a vu, c'était une journée difficile pour certains.
encore de blocs en Corée.
Plutôt des grands équilibres, on va dire. Qu'il y a les filles
So,
qui sont plutôt très
safe flip to hold number 12, got the clip done that caused so many problems for Yulia Kaplina earlier on. Solsa, just so you know, Solsa is the 11th climber of the 22 competing, so we're halfway through after she is done. It's then Yiling Song out next, and Annick Jobert, Kyra Condi, Futaba Ito, Mia Krampel, Ai Mori, Julia Shanodi, Jane Kim, Fanny Gibert, Yutong Zhang, and Luchka Rakovic.
Après, elle est quand même plutôt spécialiste de vitesse bloc et elle est un peu passée à travers, notamment en vitesse. Donc ça va pas être simple de revenir.
Allez, c'est Asia Sol. Bien la musique, Nico, elle doit apprécier, je pense, ce style de musique. Solsa. Le public, on va la laisser chauffer le prochain volume et vous allez lui faire une ovation. Parce que c'est vrai que les grappes,
Solsa safely established on the grapes. Look, a little bit pumped already, a bit like Ashima, just finding it a little bit awkward getting established on one or two of these big round purple volumes. Notice that on the thumbnail? Painted a little smiley face on her right thumbnail. It's the details that matter.
Les gens vont tomber amoureux, ceux qui l'ont jamais vu. Allez, Adia.
Pour l'instant, c'est propre, plutôt un bon rythme. Elle en a vu tout à l'heure Ashima qui a eu du mal. Ça passe.
Ça, bon. Monte le son.
So Solsa, a couple of moves now below the rest.
Allez, là ça rigole pas. Attention parce que
Got herself a little bit punched up, so she's having to work that left shoulder quite hard.
super solide, Nico.
And I think, again, one of the probably isn't quite got long enough legs to get the knee bar.
Donc voilà, c'est bien maîtrisé dans la matrice.
He arrived here with plenty of time, as you can see, 2:25 left for her. Yeah, I don't think the knee bar would work for her. I think she's well advised to stop here.
Un peu plus, 2 minutes 10. Allez, l'enchaîne, on va l'applaudir s'il vous plaît. Asia, Solsa, Asia. Cette demoiselle, il n'y a pas de grimpeuse coréenne encore qualifiée pour les JO. On espère, il y a une Kim, on espère peut-être cette demoiselle. Adia. Et là, elle arrive en dessous des 2 minutes.
Solsa, I'm just trying to see from my angle. I can't quite tell. I don't think she has got the knee. Now she's got the knee bar in. Maybe she has got long enough legs for it to work. Shaking out Solsa, 1 minute 30 left on the clock for her.
C'est toujours sacré pour cette championne coréenne.
Unusual place to take a rest, right underneath the steepest part of the route. Again, shaky out repeatedly on the steepest section. Solsa goes back, thinks again. I think really could do with getting that clip done before too long. You don't want to do it when it's right in front of your chest as you pull onto the head wall. And Solsa, with 5 minutes 15 elapsed, slapped head up onto the head wall, but just didn't quite have the energy. She stopped for a long time on the very steepest section of the route, just trying to get some energy back, and just wasn't quite able to do that. So Solsa, she makes her way off the stage, the 11th climber. As I say, we're now halfway through our runners, and things are about to get very nerve-wracking. Quite a few climbers, I suspect. Anouk Jobert out next, 4th for her in the speed and then 18th in the boulder. She's made life pretty difficult for herself by not getting the first or maybe second place that she needed in the speed. Anouk Jobert got a lot of work to do. So is Yiling Song. Apologies, Yiling Song out next. Same is true for her though. Things didn't go according to plan on the speed war. I mean, she got second, not too bad, but as a speed specialist, they were all fighting for that first place. And she then got 20th on the boulders. So yeah, let's see what she can do on the lead wall.
Et là, évidemment, ils ont reçu beaucoup de subventions, donc beaucoup d'argent pour préparer les athlètes. Ils ont embauché, il faut le dire, hein, beaucoup d'entraîneurs étrangers. Et là, on sent que c'est mutant.
Ils ont passé un cap et elle est quand même en course parce qu'elle a fait 2e de la vitesse, 20e du bloc.
I think as with the boulders, you would imagine it's likely to be a battle for the bottom 5 places, the order of the bottom 5 places amongst the 5 speed climbers, for whom Yiling Song is one. And a bit like her fellow speed climber Yulia Kaplina, might be well advised to do that clip early on. Oh, might be chalk bag. It might be well advised to get the clip done earlier on. By the way, you can see some quite serious strapping on her left shoulder. As soon as she came down off the boulders, she was getting that iced and she was getting quite a lot of attention from the physios. So carrying some sort of injury, we'll see exactly how bad it is. She's just done 2 fairly intense moves for the shoulder. Threw everything into that move with the right hand.
En Chine, il y a un peu moins de culture de cette discipline. Par contre, leur champion de vitesse, il est 5 fois champion du monde. Allez, il faut y aller, les petites en taille. Yiling Song. Et là, elle se bat déjà comme une guerrière.
And she falls somewhere around the hold 20 mark. All gets rather complicated for the judges in amongst all that. Sadly for Yiling Song, I fear that's not enough, but second on the speed, as I say, it kind of keeps her in the hunt. I think she's going to ask Sabila to help her untie. 12 climbers now gone. 10 to go, and it will be, apologies, I misread my start list. Anouk Jobert out next.
Nombre de podiums incroyables depuis l'arrivée de Yiling et de l'Ariès. Elle tient quand même le coup. Elle a changé, elle a adapté sa méthode. Elle était championne de France de bloc quand elle était jeune. Donc potentiellement, elle a fait un très beau chemin sur le bloc.
Taking quite a team of people to get that knot undone. We'll see where that leaves her, Yiling Song. So actually she moves ahead of Yulia Kaplina, as I said, but not ahead of Alexandra Koluchka. So puts her into 10th for now, score of 18. So she's going to finish at worst 20th, which would mean 20th in the boulder, 20th in the lead, 400 multiplied by 2 for the speed, 800 points. I suspect that's not enough, but not disastrous. If you're under 1,000, you might be in with a sniff. Anyway, Anouk Jobert out next, legend of the game. Went well on the boulders, got all 4 zones, but couldn't convert any of them into a top. As it turned out, actually, the way the scores went, it wouldn't have made a huge difference to Anouk if she had found a top. She wouldn't have moved up that much, actually. She finished top amongst the speed climbers.
Et après, voilà, il faut serrer les dents et il faut y aller. Techniquement, elle peut le faire. En tout cas, voilà, il faut prendre des risques.
French crowd, particularly a bunch of school kids off to my right, making an awful lot of noise for Anouk Jobert.
tellement d'expérience dans cette discipline, il y a eu des films sur elle.
The way we cut away, I thought Anouk might have fallen there. No, not at all. Needs to, as we learned from Julia Kaplina, get the clip done here if at all possible. Looking pumped already, Anouk Jobert. And just now needs to fight on through as many moves as possible. I mean, if she could get ahead of a couple of the speed climbers, I'm thinking Alexandra Kaluchka here, if she could get to hole 20, it really would be a good result. There's quite a lot of climbing to go before she gets to that stage. Slaps up with her right hand towards hole 16, and I think that will leave Anouk Jobert third from bottom, and therefore Yiling Song, who, as I say, could have ended up 20th, will now end up 19th at worst. It's going to be touch and go, you know, for Yiling Song. Going to be very close for Yiling Song. Anouk Jobert, meanwhile, I think will likely end up 20th in the lead. Yeah, it was a 16 for Anouk Jobert. So all of the speed climbing specialists have gone now. Alexandra Kaluchka did the best of them, then Yiling Song, then Anouk Jobert, then Julia Kaplina and Eri Susanti Raheu. Kyra Conley now this is, without wanting to over-dramatise it, I don't think it's exaggerated to say this has got to be the biggest moment in Kyra Conley's competition climbing career. Couldn't really have gone much better in the speed. She was 6th, fastest of the non-specialists there. In the boulder, she ended up 8th, got 3 tops and 4 zones. But attempts just bumped her down the order a bit, but still, 6th in speed, 8th in boulder, 2 good result, well, fantastic result in speed and a good result in boulder. Really needs a big performance here, Kyra Conley. Remember, I've said it a couple of times, Brooke Rabitu's already qualified. There's only 1 slot left for the American women, so if Kyra Conley could claim it, or Margot Hayes, it would mean that come the Pan American Championships in February, the winner of which will go to the Olympics, there wouldn't be a slot left for the Americans, so that would change things for Alana Yip if she was relying on that for qualification. It would change things potentially for South American athletes, because no American would progress from the women's side to the Olympics from the Pan American Championships next February. So it could all be done and dusted amongst the American women if Kyra Conley can find a strong performance here in Toulouse. They could already have claimed their 2 Olympic slots by the time the Pan American Championship gets underway. Remember, they also got a man qualified in Nathaniel Coleman yesterday, so it's already been a good trip to France for Team USA. It could be an absolutely spectacular trip if they also get Kyra Conley through, and this is what it all comes down to. 4.5 minutes left for Kyra Conley. Went with the left hand, then chooses to go with the right, and says she's got that real snappy, fast climbing style, Kyra Conley, and it's serving her well so far here on this lead route. The tension really ratcheted up. She's a climber with a lot riding on this. She's not a specialist lead climber. I think most people would agree that boulder is her strongest discipline. But speed went amazingly well. Boulder went pretty well. And needs to get everything she can out of the lead route, and I think the tactic from what we're seeing so far is just climb as fast as you can, get as many moves done as possible. I wonder if she might have got herself slightly tied up here, Kyra. Could probably do, you'd think, with the right hand where the left is. Yeah, now she's going to have to try and manufacture a hand swap. Will she go for the high risk option? That one of just moving the left hand out of the way to make space for the right. Now she's got a bit of a rest here. Tell she's definitely getting pumped, grimace on her face, and she's got that snappy climbing style at all times, but it seems even faster than normal. She's got here really quickly though. She's certainly not going to get timed out. Just over 3 minutes remaining. Elbows out, Kyra Conley getting pumped now. surviving move by move, but she's pushing on and she's now heading into the roof. Every move could be absolutely crucial for her ranking and therefore for her potential participation in the final and next August, the Olympics in Tokyo. Choosing to clip before launching into the head wall. This is great stuff from Kyra Condie, fighting with everything she's got. She's taking every opportunity to shake out the 14th climber on the wall. Only 8 to come after her. Scrapping away up towards hole 35. She's going to be somewhere around 6th at this stage. Every move she can do after this, you would imagine, is a bonus. Looking really tired. Just needs to keep on fighting. There is so much riding on this for Kyra Condie. Can she get off the head wall? That's hole 36, slapped up towards 37. And it's going to be 36 plus for her. The same score as Solsat, and it will come down to time. Brilliant fight from Kyra Condie. What an hour she has ahead of her watching the remaining 8 climbers. She could have booked her ticket to the final. She could have booked her ticket to the Olympics, depending on who else progresses. Remember that Japan have already filled their Olympic quota, so if 2 of their climbers make it into the final 8 for Sunday's final, it will mean that every non-Japanese climber will have a place in the final. Again, with a couple of provisos, but if Kyra makes the final 8 and there are 2 Japanese climbers there, then that will be enough for her to get an invite to the Olympic Games. So I think you saw as she walked up the stage, she couldn't have given it much more, left everything on the wall, and now she can only wait as Futaba Ito makes her way out onto the stage. Well, from Kyra's point of view, she'll be cheering Futaba Ito on because she wants 2 Japanese climbers to finish as high as possible. Futaba, fantastically strong all-rounder, 7th in speed, 7th in boulder. How's that for consistency? If she could back that up with 7th in the lead, she'd be home and hosed for a place in the final.
Donc ça veut dire derrière Yania, Shona,
oui, il y a des grosses clientes, mais elle a remporté le Adidas Rockstar en septembre devant toutes ses filles. Voilà.
Et puis c'est encore on va dire une jeune athlète parce qu'elle a que 23 départs du monde.
Oui, c'est encore elle est junior première année.
23 départs quand on voit Kim Yain, la différence, en fait j'avais noté les départs en Coupe du Monde. Pour vous dire par exemple une Fanny Gibert, ça pique déjà Fanny. Fanny Gibert.
So Futaba, without question the most consistent performer today, 7th and 7th.
128 départs. Et les demoiselles comme ça, c'est 23 départs. Donc c'est vraiment le choc des générations.
Suddenly, after the assignment of Kyra Condie just absolutely smashing her way through the last few moves, the arena once again peaceful.
Et là vous dites Gamba Futaba, si vous voulez l'encourager. Là on découvre la patience, la technique et l'art japonais.
Futaba, a world champion herself from the Youth World Championships in Innsbruck in 2017. And whilst Japan has already filled its Olympic quota for 2020, 2024 Olympics in Paris, keep a close eye if climbing gets there, which we obviously hope it does. Keep a close eye on Futaba Ito. She'll take some stopping with another 4 years experience and training under her belt.
La dernière grimpeuse.
Ouais, elles sont quasiment ex-aequo sur le bloc avec Yaira en termes de points.
Elle est 6e Futaba, c'est vrai qu'elle est.
Donc faut monter un peu dans cette voie.
So Futaba now around halfway, that's 25, that white hole there. By the way, if you're wondering what the blue crosses are on the hold, hopefully when we see it from another angle, you'll see on all the holds there are little marker pen marks. See that blue cross right at the top of the white volume? Those are made by the route setters, so they preset these routes in the weeks leading up to Toulouse, and then they mark on the wall and the holds where the holds go, so that when they put them back on the wall it all lines up. So you'll see there's a marking on the hold itself and a marking on the wall. And it's so the route setters can stick the holds back on and put them exactly where they left them when they preset the route. Just in the unlikely event that you were sitting at home and wondering what the marker pen marks were on the holds. Adam Postelnik, vastly experienced chief route setter, is chief setter here in Toulouse, just as he was in Hachioji for the lead. Futaba taking a nice long break again, climbed quickly up until this point, plenty of time on the clock.
C'est un avantage ça de se retrouver avec Jackie en bouche à l'entraînement.
Je pense qu'en termes d'expérience, de rigueur,
comme pour les Slovènes, les avec Yania. Gamba, Futaba. Et aussi, elle compense le manque de...
See just what she's hanging on to on the corner of that volume. Yeah, now drifting out right, commits via a big move out towards hole 35. Choosing to go feet first, we haven't seen that method work, and actually she kind of bailed out of it as soon as she tried it. Flexibility coming in handy there for Futaba Ito, got herself in a very unlikely looking position. So we've just seen Kyra Condy put up an amazing fight. Remember, her rank was obviously affected by everyone else, so if Futaba progresses past her, which she now has, that bumps Kyra down a place. Futaba suddenly looking very tired. We saw a big grimace for her. She slapped up towards hole 38, and she will progress no further. 38 plus will almost certainly be the score for Futaba Ito. Seemed to get pretty tired as she entered the roof, and it only got worse as time went by. Yeah, you could see the big grimace there. We just had the right camera angle, fortunately, for that at the right moment. You could see her elbows right out horizontally, sign of being very, very pumped, and slapped up towards hole 39, but could not stay there. Mia Krampel next. Now this is a big moment. Mia Krampel, 20th in the speed, got a lot of work to do on her speed climb if she does make it to the Olympics. 20th in the speed, but then 3rd on the boulders. She topped all 4. Remember that Janja Gambra has already claimed one of these Slovenian slots. So her and Lučka Rakovic cannot both go to the Olympics. One of them can, not both of them. And Lučka Rakovic is, it may even be mathematically, someone might tell me if they've got a calculator and the right type of brain for that sort of thing. If they've got a calculator, it might tell me that Lučka Rakovic has already guaranteed her place in Sunday's final. If she's not guaranteed it, it's pretty close. She basically needs to not be last. Mia Krampel has got a little more work to do, but still looking pretty good for a place in the final.
Si elles y vont toutes les deux, oui, il n'y aura qu'une place, donc ça peut aussi être le cas.
Mais l'équipe féminine slovène est quand même mieux, plus en forme que l'équipe masculine. Là je parle en diff, évidemment, pas en bloc. Hein. En diff, ils ont Domensko Fikte qui a été expulsé, Hans Biark et encore quelques-uns, mais les filles, elles sont saucées du monde.
Once again, a lot of tension in the arena. The Slovenian women battling it out for one Olympic slot after Janja Gambra claimed the other one in Hachioji in August. She won that combined competition. Janja. So one thing to bear in mind is that Mia Krampel and Lučka Rakovic and and the 2 Japanese climbers progress to the final on Sunday, that would mean the person who finishes 9th here today would potentially get an Olympic slot. So there's so many permutations. I suspect Mia Krampel hasn't really given them much thought at all. All she can do is climb as well as possible and see where it gets her. We know she's got plenty of fight. Mia Krampel found her way onto the podium in the Munich World Cup, having really injured her knee. It seemed quite severely on the very first boulder and basically refused to be denied. She's going to need a bit of that attitude here in Toulouse.
Et puis je vous parle d'elle, mais celle qui arrivera après, les petites de 16 ans, là, elle n'a pas raté une finale cette année. Hein.
C'est peut-être la grande favorite qui va rentrer.
Ouais, c'est vrai que je l'aime en grande favorite, toi. Hein. Allez. Et si elle arrive au volume au-dessus,
Yeah, just struggling to get her foot back on. It's a good angle actually. You get a bit of an inkling of exactly how steep it is here. Up to hole 25, climbing quickly, 3.5 minutes still left on the clock. So Mia Krampel, second place in the Lead World Championships in Hachioji back in August. That same championships where Janja Garnbret booked her place at the Tokyo 2020 Olympics. And Mia is going to need, as I say, all that pedigree. She's got to beat not only her other competitors, but her compatriot Luchka Rakovic this weekend in Toulouse. Luchka, the European Lead Champion, so she's got plenty of calibre too. It really is going to be a pretty tight battle between the two Slovenians.
Elle temporise pas trop, je pense qu'elle est confiante dans ses capacités d'endurance.
Mia pausing on the steepest section of the route. We've seen a couple of climbers doing that, but she's looked the most comfortable of them. Pulls onto the head wall, going a completely different route here. Mia. This is a really strong performance from her, and it needs to be. We'll keep an eye on the clock, because if they are tied on time, any climbers, it will come down to time. 45 plus from Laura Agora, as it stands, is the best score. 45 plus basically means going for the top move but not sticking it. Now getting tired, Mia Krampel. Oh, just about latched hole 44. Desperate times now, and it could count for so much. It could be a place in the Olympics riding on this. Keep an eye on the clock, keep an eye on Mia Krampel as she goes for the top with 4 minutes 44 elapsed. How does that compare to Laura Agora? We'll see in a second when the scores come up. So she got to 45. Surely the judges will say that it's a 45 plus, and she definitely moved towards the next holes. Foot did slip as she went. Will they give it 45 plus? I'm sure they will, in which case it will come down to time.
Bravo, congratulations, Mia. Yeah. Sorry for the last mistake.
So Mia Krampel, we await her score. I mean, will it be a 45 or a 45 plus? It's a 45, so she moves into second. Time becomes irrelevant. My first instinct was that she had probably secured a 45 plus, really headed towards the top hole, but when you watch it back on the replay, her foot did slip as she went, and the judges have given her a 45. Okay, the tension continues to ratchet up here. Mori now makes her way onto the wall.
L'escalade cette année, on les a vues. Elles étaient 4, 2 japonaises, une chinoise et une coréenne. 16 ans les 4 et elles ont tenu, messieurs, dames. Toute la saison, elles se sont fait des finales. On pensait qu'elles allaient craquer, c'est un coup de chance, rien du tout. Et Mori, c'est ouf. Parce que Yaya Gambret arrive à 16 ans en finale. On pensait qu'il fallait être un extraterrestre, bah non. Elle nous le prouve, les filles.
Mori, possessor of mind-blowing endurance. You might remember her performance in Hachioji earlier on this year. What can she do here in Toulouse? Remember, there's no Olympic slot available for Team Japan. They've already filled their quota. Mori's had a, well, it can't get any worse than her start to the day, 22nd and last in speed, but then made amends in a big way with second in boulder, topped all 4 boulders. If she could get a good result here in lead, she would make her way into the final, albeit it wouldn't count for an Olympic slot.
Le coup tu rates ton titre de championne du monde jeune, c'était une japonaise aussi, qui était à Kyo. Voilà. C'est pas depuis hier.
Et je pense que Mori, elle est en concurrence avec Miyo Donaka pour la 2e place japonaise au JO. Donc il y a beaucoup d'enjeux pour elle de faire une bonne performance ici.
Ouais, mais ce qui est bluffant quand même, Nico, c'est qu'à 16 ans, t'as pas l'expérience internationale comme les... Et quand tu arrives comme ça et que tu sais te trouver les parades à
Mori, as I say, couldn't have gone any worse at the start, couldn't have gone that much better on the boulders. Put herself in an incredibly strong position to claim a place in the final. Remember, if her and Futaba progress to the final, which as it stands is looking reasonably likely, then it would mean that potentially everyone else in that final then took an Olympic slot.
Hey guys, she's really young, so come on, round of applause for Mori, 16 years old. She's USA first year. She was in final in Villars-sur-Roland, Chamonix, Briançon. Et là, quand je vous dis Villars, Chamonix, Briançon, Arco, c'est pas des murs de touristes, hein. Là c'est des murs Arco. Le temps,
Mori choosing
Briançon, il fait mal le mur.
an unusual rest position.
Chamonix casse en 2 fois, mais avec un dénivelé terrible. Villars-sur-Roland, il y a un dénivelé de 40.
Picked up 3 World Cup podiums already this year, Mori. 2 in lead and 1 in boulder.
Alors elle, le petit piège, ça peut être le chrono.
As I say, the tension, although the mathematics will be affected from Mori's result, the tension ever so slightly lessened, ever so slightly, because the Japanese cannot take any more climbers to the Olympics, so she's not gunning for a spot at the Olympics. Remember, of course, her result does affect the ranking of everyone else. There's still plenty of tension, but she's not one of those climbers who's got everything on the line here and is betting the farm on her performance on the lead wall.
Je suis sûr que si je demande aux Japonais comment
Mori, 2:10 left for her.
je le prononce mal.
Now about to get stuck into the roof. She has got the most incredible endurance. Hang on all day. You can see a little grimace on her face though. It's about as close as you ever see to her looking tired on a lead wall.
À chaque fois, et c'est très bien comme ça. Allez, il va falloir qu'elle passe la vitesse supérieure, Marie. Et là, ce petit jeu, elle sait tout faire. Elle est forte, cette demoiselle, 16 ans. 16 ans.
Let's see what Mori can do. Remember, we've got a climber on 45 plus, Mia Krampel on 45.
Elle est résistante comme jamais.
Wouldn't surprise me that much if we saw an appeal from the Slovenian team about whether that should be a 45 plus, because it would move her ahead of Laura Gore on the rankings, I think, on time.
Elle va surengager Nico.
But for now, as it stands, it's Laura Rigor on 45 plus, Mia Cramble on 45. Margot Hayes still hanging on there, 43 plus. Ooh, and a big moment from I Mori, went up and had to come back down. Doesn't look that comfortable on this route, I Mori. Really fighting. It'd be a big surprise if she couldn't progress further than this. She's such a good lead climber, World Championship bronze medalist, World Cup bronze medalist as well this year. Oh, and she's having to scrap for every move here, not looking comfortable at all. That incredible endurance for which she's known is coming in pretty handy though, as she gets herself established on the head wall. Finds her way up through those dual texture volumes. Couldn't we see the most unlikely of tops from a climber who looked incredibly tired a couple of moves ago? I Mori, she did it in the World Championship. Can she do it again here in the Olympic selection event in Toulouse? She's got hole 44, excuse me. This is 45 coming up, lining it up. Are we about to see the first top of the night? I Mori lining it up and latching it. She's going to go into first place with only 5 climbers to go. I Mori tops the route with only 4 seconds remaining. She'll move into first, and that affects everyone's ranking below her. It almost certainly books her a place. It does book her a place, in fact, in Sunday's final. But there are other things at stake, not just places in the final. So with 4 seconds to spare, that might be crucial if we see another top, by the way. 4 seconds to spare. I Mori finds a top. She looked like she got herself in all sorts of trouble, but she pulled it out of the bag. Makes her way off the stage. She does it every time. That endurance she's got is just mind-blowing.
Et là c'est la première, on est ravis, hein. Franchement, de voir ce mur comme ça sauter. Elle était 4e hein, tout à l'heure du classement, donc là on peut lui dire vous la retrouverez en finale dimanche, c'est sûr.
So now Julia Shannordi, the next climber out, and she could book her place in the final as well. 10th on the speed, 6th in the boulder, good consistent scoring. I think anything with single figures here, single figures finish, top 10, would probably be enough for Julia Shannordi. We don't want to get too carried away with making predictions. There's still 4 climbers to go after her, but yeah, top 10 finish might be enough.
Jessica Pils, qui était la championne du monde 2016. Voilà, quand elles ont le même âge. Jessica Pils, Anna Verhoeven.
This is getting pretty dramatic here in Toulouse. We're just tuning in. Charlie Bosco here, live from the south of France, the Olympic selection event. These climbers are gunning for a place in Sunday's final, but they're also gunning for one of 6 slots in the Olympics. And because of country quotas, it might not just be the top 6 from Sunday's final. We might confirm who those 6 Olympic invites will be going to here in the next half an hour.
Alors vous allez la pousser, et surtout depuis toute petite, Julia c'est une fille qui a toujours eu la plus grosse résine de l'équipe de France jeune. Même en minime elle en avait une supérieure au junior.
Bon après c'est aussi qu'elle a énormément travaillé depuis très longtemps, et voilà, donc cette voie elle est largement à sa portée.
Alors Julia, si on reprend un peu tranquillement, elle était à l'issue bien calée, hein, bien placée, 7e après les 2 épreuves.
Julia, no problems so far, as you'd expect, lead climber of her caliber.
En tout cas, une belle entrée dans le rythme de la voie. Elle est rentrée rapide, elle est propre.
Picked up her sole IFSC podium in lead, just 1 podium still, but she was consistently making boulder finals this year. She's had a really good 2019 that's culminated here in Toulouse. This will be the last action of that season, and it could count for so much. There are still 2 slots available for French women if they can claim them. They haven't claimed any so far in the Olympic selection pathway.
Allez Julia, en tout cas la rapidité, le rythme il est vraiment là. Et puis ça lui fait quand même un peu plus d'allonge que les autres compétitrices En tout cas, beaucoup plus qu'Aïe. Regardez comme c'est solide, hein. Ça bouge pas. On peut l'applaudir s'il vous plaît? Allez! Et la musique qui va l'emmener, elle va accélérer petit à petit.
Crowd getting right behind Julia Chanody. It's such a big moment though. You sometimes find that people just go quiet at these times rather than yelling her on for every move. They just sit there staring, and that's what's happening right now in Toulouse. The vuvuzelas and drums of yesterday are not present. Now a few cries emerge from the crowd.
On se rappelle tellement quand elle était benjamine, Julia, elle partait des filles de l'équipe de France senior. Emblème, c'était à l'époque, c'était Allure Chaudrier, Maud Orsade. Elle était déjà calée entre les deux dans leur bloc, elle a toujours déchiré. En div, c'est sa discipline de prédilection. En vitesse, elle a tous les atouts pour y arriver. Dès qu'elle va embrayer le public, vous allez lever la main droite, la main gauche, vous allez taper dans les mains. Et vous allez me router la française. Allez!
So Julia Chanody taking a long rest underneath the roof.
Vas-y Nico, laisse la musique, vas-y, 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 vas-y. Elle va embrayer au bon moment sur le tempo et ça va partir. Allez Julia.
Julia Chanody could be climbing her way to the Olympics here. It doesn't get much bigger than the next 2.5 minutes for this French climber. She is a bona fide all-rounder. Things have gone pretty well for her so far today. 10th in the speed, 6th in the boulder. What can she do in the lead? She looks pretty composed, quick puff of the cheeks. She's such a high caliber lead climber. You'd expect a big performance. If she could find a top, I think she'd have booked her place, but there's an awful lot of moves to be done before she does that. Just take a little mini shake of the hand at every opportunity now. Julia Chanody, only 4 climbers still to come after her, including Jane Kim and Luchka Rakovic, both of whom could make a real dent on this lead wall. Like a few climbers pausing under the roof because it's a good hold, it's just in an uncomfortable position. 1:45 left, looks like she's got her timing absolutely perfect. She's got time to do these last moves. It's just a case of energy, reading the route right as well. Now makes her way onto the head wall. Every move now being greeted with cheers. I said the French crowd have gone quiet. They're not quiet now. We'll pull onto the head wall. Oh, there's a big move up to the left to hole 39 and now on to 40. Suddenly looking very tired. Julia Chanody jumps off hold 40. Yeah, and we'll almost certainly get a 40 plus. By the way, speaking of pluses, Mia Krampel's been moved up to a 45 plus and moves ahead of Laura Rigora into second place for the lead. I was speculating that might happen, and so it's proved. Julia Chanody, meanwhile, I think is going to get a 40 plus. That'll put her into 5th place for now. There's 4 climbers remaining. Yeah, let's see. She can join what must now be an army of climbers down the front watching nervously. There's virtually nobody that's almost guaranteed their place in the final right now. Mori, one of the few, but she's not gunning for a spot in the Olympics. Mia Krampel, one of them I suppose as well, and probably Laura Rigora, but that's about it.
Pendant des années, moi j'ai trouvé que c'était la plus belle grimpe au monde. Alors c'est vrai que depuis 2 ans, elle subit un petit peu, elle se fait traumatiser par la nouvelle génération. Cette femme est le plus gros palmarès de tous les temps. Je vous rappelle quand même, elle a 128 départs en Coupe du Monde, 59 podiums, 29 victoires, numéro 1 mondial, championne du monde en 2014, vice-championne du monde en 2011, 2012, 2009, vainqueur du classement général en 2010, 2013, 2014. La légende coréenne, je voudrais un tonnerre d'applaudissements pour Jane Kim.
So Jane Kim, winner of the most recent Lead World Cup, winner of 29 Lead World Cups and a Boulder World Cup, for good measure, the most successful, statistically, the most successful World Cup climber in the history of the IFSC. Got that lovely, calm, smooth style. She'll, I would imagine, get her timing pretty much spot on. She generally does, times it normally to perfection. And if she tops the route, I suspect it won't be with much time to spare. Imori topped with 4 seconds left. So Jane Kim keeping things steady. It'd be frankly an enormous surprise if she was to run into any trouble here. She just keeps on going, Jane Kim. She's been at it for so long. World champion, 30-time World Cup winner. It's just been a breathtaking career, and it certainly is not over yet. Total of, by the way, of 61 World Cup medals, 30 of them gold.
Moi je dis c'est une main de fer dans un gant de velours, c'est la classe. C'est le côté envoûtant de la grimpe. Bon, ok, je suis amoureux de la grimpe de Kingley.
Just had to cut loose there.
Toujours été obligé de prendre des risques parce que pas le choix.
She had it all in control, as ever. Keep an eye on the time, by the way. I never, ever want to suggest that Jane Kim might have got it wrong, but it looks to me like she might just be slightly behind where she needs to be. She's not yet at hole 21. That's hole 21, that dual texture volume there, just to the left of that one. And there are 47 holes on the route, pretty much halfway. She hasn't left herself much time for a rest if she finds one or wants one a bit later on.
Elle a porté la femme olympique à Pyeongchang pour les JO, derniers Jeux olympiques d'hiver. Elle a mis l'escalade en valeur. Une star. Alors elle, on a senti la différence aussi de sa vie d'athlète seule à sa vie de femme, parce qu'elle est mariée.
Less than half her time remaining now, Jane Kim. She is past halfway. As I say, she normally gets her timing and the cadence of her climbing absolutely spot on.
En bloc, elle est capable de gagner aussi. Elle était capable.
Has she done it here?
Ouais, et là, on voit quand même Nico que c'est pas du tout la même manière que les autres.
C'est beaucoup plus
statique, lent.
On va dire que pour l'instant, la fatigue l'a pas encore atteint, contrairement à d'autres, donc elle peut gérer encore tranquillement.
Et puis elle a les boules, hein, parce qu'on fait la poulie au mois de
shaking out. She's at the good rest. 2 minutes to go. I don't think Jane Kim's got time for a big long rest here, and I don't think she feels she has either. She gets moving now.
Là, on rentre généralement dans sa spécialité avec son corps assez léger. Elle a un pouvoir de traction, Yahin, qui est exceptionnel.
Just to give you some idea of where she's at, Jane Kim. This is a round where Ashima fell, and that was enough for 12th. So Jane Kim, after 14th in the speed and then 15th in the boulder, is basically relying on getting a very small number on leads. So she's going to need to be either at the top or very, very close to it, you suspect. Checks the time again over her left shoulder. 1:10 left. I think she's got the timing pretty much spot on, but you can see there's quite a lot of moves still to do. It's going to be tight, Remember, Imori topped with 4 seconds remaining. Less than a minute now for Jane Kim. I think she's may well just chalk up once more maybe and then just get motoring. You have to go for this move here. 40 seconds now. Getting pretty tight. I think she might just get moving from here on out. Looks firmly in control, but what she doesn't control is the clock, and it is ticking away. 24 seconds to go now. Still another quick draw to clip before the top, and remember, she's got to clip the top quick draw before it is an official top. I think she could be really tight here, Jane Kim. 10 seconds to go. No exaggeration to say her Olympic place is in danger. It certainly is now as she falls up on the way up to hole 44. It'll be a 43 plus for her. I think she was slower than Margot Hayes, which means she'll go into 5th place. And I don't think that's going to be enough for Jane Kim, especially because she could get bumped further down from 5th. I think she'll be slightly frustrated when she watches that one back. Everything was going fine, everything was nice and smooth, as it always is for Jane Kim, but she just seemed to slow down, and she was already pretty tight for time, but she left the rest with 2 minutes to go, went through the roof and onto the head wall and just didn't get moving. And yeah, goes into 4th for now, joint 4th with Margot Hayes, and I think that's subject to the time being checked. Actually, Margot was pretty short on time, so it will be tight. She might move up into 4th, Jane Kim, but either way, I don't think she's done enough there. By the same token, she's definitely not done enough, so she will be another nervous climber watching on. It's getting reasonably tense here in Toulouse. Aujourd'hui, elle se retrouve à la 10e position du provisoire. Mesdames et messieurs, représentant la France. So that's how they stand right now. Luchka Rakovic and Imori can be pretty confident that they will be appearing in the final, as will Mia Krampel, probably Laura Gora as well. Beyond that, it really will get tight. Fanny Gibert now 13th in the speed, so not great but not a disaster, and then 5th on the boulders, which is pretty good. She might have hoped for ever so slightly more, but 5th still a pretty good result. And what can she do now in the lead? Peut-être un peu moins d'endurance, mais elle a beaucoup progressé cette année. Elle a été au portée finale de Coupe du Monde, donc had top 10 finishes in lead World Cups down the years, and podiums in Boulder. They need every bit of that experience and skill now. Allez Fanny. Allez Fanny, allez le public hein. Again, French crowd quiet as she makes her way through the lower section. I suspect, like Julia Chanaudy, they won't be very quiet if she makes it through to the upper section. On a toujours l'habitude de mettre des musiques un peu de charme au début. Et ensuite, quand les filles souffrent le plus, on commence à ambiancer. Fanny Gibert, il en restera 2 derrière. Et pour le moment, 10e du provisoire, Fanny, elle a fait évidemment un beau parcours en bloc. Just drops down onto that big blue hold. Climbing pretty quickly here, Fanny Gibert. A minute or so quicker than Jane Kim to get to this stage. Nico, elle va pas y rester à mon avis super longtemps, donc enfin si elle peut, mais n'hésite pas à rebooster un petit coup. Et le public, vous allez l'applaudir et la faire voler, Fanny Gibert. On ne peut pas qu'elle puisse faire, Nico. So just about everything riding on this now for Fanny Gibert. As I say, 65 ranking points coming off the first two events, 13th in speed, 10.104 on the speed wall, and then 3 tops and 4 zones gave her 5th in the boulder.
Allez, attention parce que généralement quand on est un humain et que les bras se lèvent, les coudes comme ça, c'est mauvais signe, mais pas pour Fanny. Fanny elle est là, Fanny elle compense avec tellement de technique. Fanny elle a une technique de pied qui est quand même bluffante.
Ouais, c'est la meilleure dans ce domaine.
Elle peut les avoir au-dessus de l'épaule, à tout endroit.
Getting moving straight through, heading now for the roof, crowd coming to life. It's so tense here. Country quotas kicking in. One person's rank affecting everyone else's.
Et quand on la voit grimper comme ça, on pense à sa copine, à Manon. Les deux, quel chemin de ces deux réunionnaises sur le territoire. Et là,
As Fanny Gibert again repeatedly shaking out almost every move now. Still looks like she's got a little bit left, but suddenly the elbows are out and the pump really kicking in. How many moves can she get?
Allez, on la voit à plusieurs reprises relâchée au niveau des mains. Voilà, ça, de toute façon, c'est la partie la plus dure au niveau encaissement. Allez, on y va, plus vite.
She's going feet first, almost coming out of the roof. Fanny Gibert. Elbows are really out now, and she slaps up with the left hand. Up towards hole 38. Chose not to go towards 37. Looks rather emotional, Fanny Gibert. She's not the only one. Let's have another look.
Le gars, il a les doigts greffés dans le téléphone. Ça va aller, ça va aller. De toute façon, les dés sont jetés. Non, presque. Et Fanny, applaudissements pour Fanny Gibert, s'il vous plaît. Fanny, il en peut plus là.
Fanny Gibert waves to the crowd. So much emotion. I'm just trying to figure out where that will leave Fanny Gibert and what that then means. She is, as it stands in the overall standings, she is down in 9th. That was 11th for now in the lead. Bear in mind, actually, that number can only get worse for Fanny Gibert. Yutong Jiang and Luchka Rakovic still to come, so she could end up 13th in the lead. So she will only go down the order, and I think that might be the end of that for Fanny Gibert. Let's not concentrate too much on that though, because Yutong Jiang has just made her way out. There she is, just going through a 40-second individual observation period. You might remember in the amazing Chamonix World Cup earlier on this year, Place du Mont Blanc of Chamonix in mid-July, she was second there to Cheonse. She's been a real threat in the lead all year.
Pareil, première année cadette, 16 ans pour cette demoiselle. Et regardez, alors on a vu déjà la méga performance de Lai.
5.5 minutes remaining for Yutong Jiang to do something special here. She didn't have the best of times so far, 11th in the speed and a disappointing 17 in the boulder. But if she could get a top 3 finish, maybe top 4, which is certainly not out of the question, that could be enough. It feels like there's so many permutations. I'm trying to stay across them, and by the same token, you've just got to enjoy the action and the drama as it unfolds. Still only Ai Mori with the top. There's only going to be a maximum of 3 tops. If Yutong Jiang and Luchka Rakovic can find a top, there'll be 3 tops. But as it is, it's still only Ai Mori. Jane Kim and Margot Hayes still having their times looked at, still showing up as joint 4th. They were on 43 plus. Laura Gora and Mia Krampel both went for the top move but didn't stick it in a 45 plus, separated on time. And Yutong Zhang now. Penultimate climber, Luchka Rekovic still to come after her. And I'm just looking, by the way, to make it a little more sense now. Fanny Gibert looking very emotional when she came down. I think she realised that probably wasn't going to be enough, and looking at the rankings as the update, I think I'm inclined to agree with her. Remember, there is still a route to the Olympics for climbers via the Continental Championships. There are 5 Continental Championships in February and March of next year. But this is arguably the biggest opportunity. You've got to win those Continental Championships to progress. No good coming second. So this is most climbers' best chance.
Là, sur Internet, on voit des gens qui s'intéressent au TQO, qui se sont jamais autant intéressés à l'escalade. On en a 8277 connexions sur Internet. Le plus gros pic, ça a été 10 000 hier, 10 000 passés. Je pense que demain, c'est carnage. Allez, on y va, on applaudit s'il vous plaît à la petite grimpeuse chinoise là.
So 3 minutes left. Speed about right for Yutong Zhang. Remember, Aimori topped with 4 seconds remaining if it was to come to that. She's been having such a strong season in the lead, Yutong Zhang. 3 finals and a podium. Certainly not out of the question that she could find a top. She's at the rest now, 2:40 left for her. De la fédération internationale, c'est Kailas, le gros centre, et le pro shop il est à Guangzhou. Et Guangzhou encore c'est du temps. Voilà, l'endroit, c'est un pôle d'entraînement, ça pourrait se référer un peu à ce qu'on a en Autriche, version dans un lycée international.
Elle va rentrer dans la zone un peu décisive.
Ouais, mais regarde le temps, elle est pas mal hein. Elle est pas mal parce qu'il va lui rester 2 minutes.
Elle a décidé de pas trop s'arrêter.
Allez, Jariot. Puis on sent que Nico, elle en a encore sous le moteur.
Just so you know, just disappeared for a minute there. Just talking to one of the IFSC officials. There were 3 climbers tied on 36 plus. Kyra Condy, Fanny Gibert and Sol Sa. Currently with Kyra Condy 10th, Fanny Gibert 11th and Sol Sa 12th, but there may be some checking of that result going on, just to double check that that is the right order for them, and they are separated by time and in the correct order. So something to keep one more thing to keep an eye on. Feels at the conclusion of these combined competitions you can have an army of people doing the stats and you still miss things. Yutong Zhang now launching for the head wall and not quite getting there. That's a big shock actually, and just to make life a little trickier for the officials, I think she's about to be the 4th climber on 36 plus that we were just discussing. Yutong Zhang doesn't look particularly happy with that, and I don't think she'd be very happy with how things have gone in general here in Toulouse. That's not going to be enough for her to make the final. She had been awarded a 36 actually, so that will make life marginally easier for the judges, provided there are no appeals. And this is how it looks right now. So remember, one person's rank affects everyone else's. This is one of the problems, one of the complications of the scoring system is that till the last climber's done, we don't really know what anyone's rank is going to be, and it is Luchka Rekovic coming out last. She is the reigning European lead champion. She's absolutely capable of topping this route. But is her lead fitness at where it needs to be right here, right now. Will she read the route correctly? Will she get her timing right?
Elle est hybride, hein, hybride dans les deux disciplines. Et franchement, on peut l'applaudir parce qu'elle est en tête du provisoire pour le moment.
So Lučka Rakovic, the last climber of the 22, gets us underway.
Et qu'est-ce que tout regarde?
Spare a thought, if you will, for the climbers just at the bottom right, down by the speed wall as we look at things, bottom right of the venue, who are looking on with potential Olympic participation riding on what happens here with Lučka Rakovic.
Bon, j'espère que vous avez compté un peu les
5 minutes from now, a lot will be resolved. Remember, of course, we just to make life complicated, we have got judges looking at timings between the three climbers tied between 10th and 12th. We've got Margot Hayes and Jane Kim still seemingly not separated by time. They may be tied, as we had yesterday with Stefano Casolfi and Alberto Hines Lopez, but they may just be separated, and the judges will need to take a closer look. Lučka Rakovic, meanwhile, has had a long time in the isolation. Does the mind wander? Does she begin to think about permutations and possibilities? Or has she been able to keep her head where it needs to be, which is focused on doing as well as she can on this route? Had no problems so far, and is also climbing at a good pace. So remember, Mori top with 4 seconds to spare if she could find a top. Any quicker than that, she'd claim first place. Could have an interesting situation shortly, by the way, because if both Japanese climbers and both Slovenian climbers progress to the final, it would mean every non-Japanese and every non-Slovenian climber in the final, plus a person in 9th today, was going to get an Olympic invite. But it would mean that Lučka Rakovic and Mia Krampel would not be guaranteed anything. They'd have to battle it out in the final for that one Olympic slot that is left for the Slovenian women. So there'd be some people celebrating, and there'd be them thinking, right, we've got to come back on Sunday, and it really counts. So could be reasonably tense.
Les Français, c'est la dernière là, s'il vous plaît, on applaudit, allez, la dernière de la journée. À passer, bravo, tour de feuille altitude.
So Lučka choosing not to take much of a rest on the good blue hold. I wouldn't be at all surprised if she took note yesterday when Stefano and Alberto Hines Lopez were both tied for time. I think she'll be well aware that if in doubt, climb a little bit quicker would not be a bad policy, because time is much more important here than it normally is in the league climbing competition. And she's definitely going at good pace here, Lučka Rakovic, 2:20 left on the clock. Now she stops again, quite an unusual place to stop. You can see she's got the knee bar in, but still right hand wasn't on very much at all. Looking calm and collected though, Lučka Rakovic. I think she might have timed this one pretty well. Hall once again silent. Julia Shanodi, as it stands, is in 5th place. I think Julia Shanodi's done enough, regardless of what Lučka Rakovic does here. But there aren't many people who fall into that category right now. 1:20 left on the clock. What Lučka Rakovic doesn't know is that she could do with getting a move on, because if she could find a top, the quicker the better. She's looking so solid here. These are hard moves, but Lučka Rakovic, the European lead champion, is making light work of them right now. She needs to keep this up. She's got 55 seconds left. I suspect if she could find a top, she'll be quicker than Aimori was, but not if she takes too long on this head wall. Can't really afford to waste any time. Needs to use it wisely. 45 seconds left of the action here in Toulouse for this women's qualifier. There's plenty more drama to come though, that's for sure, as the scores are worked out and the permutations are figured out. 30 seconds to go. Lučka Rakovic needs to get a move on here. Slovenian fans must be screaming at the TV now for her to go faster. 23 seconds left. Needs to get that clip done. It's going to be so tight if she does find a top. Whether she's quicker than Aimori, she chalks up again. Lučka get moving. 12 seconds now. Here she goes, launches for the top and misses it. Oh, there was so much riding on that for so many people. Lučka Rakovic, I think, knows that she's done enough for a place in the final. It's everyone below her now that watches nervously. So it'll be a 45 plus, the same as Mia Krampel, the same as Laura Gora, but it'll come down to time. So Aimori will claim first. Lučka Rakovic will move into the top 4. Between second and fourth position yet to be determined. We're waiting for it to flash up. Oh, that was tough to watch. There was so much riding on the time and she was just burning through it, chalking up on the head wall. I suppose the first job is always to get the moves done and worry about the time second. But let's see where that leaves her. It hasn't come through yet, Lučka Rakovic's score or position. Third she's showing up on the lead wall, so that means that Aimori, Lučka Rakovic, Mia Krampel, Laura Gora, Futaba Ito, Julia Shanodi, Julia Kaplina and Kyra Condi are the top 8. Now if things stay as they are, that means that Laura Gora, Julia Shanodi, Julia Kaplina, Kyra Condi and Yiling Song would be receiving an invitation to the Olympics, and it would mean that Lučka Rakovic and Mia Krampel will have to battle it out, and whoever finishes highest on in Sunday's final would then get an Olympic invitation as well. But there are so many ifs, buts and maybes in that sentence right now. Margot Hayes and Jane Kim still tied on 5th. I don't think either of them could actually make it up into that top 8. So I think that we can safely say that is the scenario we've got. The judges have made a very quick decision regarding the time with those 3 climbers tied on 45 plus on the lead wall. Mia Krampel, Lučka Rakovic and Laura Gora. Let's have another look at this top 10. Yeah, if things stay as they are, and I'm just thinking of the potential changes that there might be to the mathematics and the standings, I don't think that any of them will actually materially affect it. I'm 90% certain that Aimori and Futaba Ito will not be receiving an Olympic invitation because Japan have already filled their quota. Lučka Rakovic and Mia Krampel will both be in the final, and they'll have to battle it out for that one slot, and whoever finishes highest on Sunday will get that slot. And that means that Laura Gora, Julia Shanodi, Julia Kaplina, Kyra Condi and Yiling Song will all be receiving invitations to the Olympic Games in Tokyo 2020. That's how it appears right now. Of course, we can have appeals, we can have changes. There are still a couple of things for the judges to look at, but that's certainly how it appears. Of course, as ever, check the IFSC social media and website for confirmation, but I'm pretty sure that is the situation right now. High drama here in Toulouse. As I say, keep an eye on all the usual channels just to have all that news confirmed. And we will see you on Sunday. And unlike the men's competition, Sunday will determine who will get one of the Olympic slots, because it's going to be Mia Krampel or Lučka Rakovic. They will battle it out on Sunday for that final slot. But another day of high drama here in Toulouse concludes. We'll be back tomorrow with more, with the men's final. Of course, the men's Olympic slots already handed out, but the finals will be tomorrow, where Olympic seeding will be decided. And I will speak to you then. Another amazing day here in the south of France.